What's up guys, welcome to a new video where I'm actually home on the East Coast visiting family for the holidays, but that is not going to stop me from unboxing and reviewing something that I am extremely excited about. I just wanted to give you a little heads up in case you hear a crying baby or a barking dog. I'm at my sister's house and it's crazy. Are you guys ready to unbox the new 16-inch MacBook Pro? Because I am. Heavy. Oh gosh, maybe I'm not. Oh boy. Honestly, I wasn't going to get the new 16-inch MacBook Pro, but somehow here we are. Oh! Oh, there's a pull strip. How many MacBooks have I opened in my life? Oh my gosh. Good start, off to a really good start, Jenna. Really good start. Oh my goodness. Okay, I can definitely notice that it is a lot heavier. Maybe not a lot heavier, but noticeably heavier from the 15-inch MacBook Pro. Let's start off by just going over what's in the box. Obviously, the 16-inch MacBook Pro. We have the 2-meter charging cable, which is USB-C, and have the 96-watt USB-C power adapter. Now what Apple did was actually really smart. They went ahead and made it the largest battery possible without breaking FAA regulations. Could you imagine not being able to get on a plane with your computer? That would suck. It smells like maple syrup. Why does it smell like maple syrup? I have already smudged it up. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, yes, I'd like to set you up. So I'm gonna set up my computer and I will be right back. So let's start off with what's new. Apple has done away with the 15-inch MacBook Pro. That is no longer a thing. You now have the option for the 13-inch or the 16-inch. With the 16-inch, it starts out at around $23.99 or $27.99, depending on the processors and some other things that you might want. So this is the configuration that I went with. I went with the 2.4 8-core 9th generation i9. I also then upgraded to the 64 gigs for the memory. I also did the higher graphics, and I did, of course, the 8TB storage. The reason I updated before, my previous computer only had 2, so for the 2018 MacBook Pro, I updated to the 4, and guess what? It still wasn't enough. And that ran me around $6,100, but I always add on the Apple Care as well as taxes, which brings it out to around $7,000. Expensive. However, this is cheaper than my fully maxed out version from 2018, which only had 4 TB. That was, I believe, closer to $8,000. So the fact that we are now getting more for technically less, it means that Apple is improving. Yes, it is very expensive. I'm aware. Okay, so now that you guys know that this is the fully maxed out one, let's talk about what makes it special. Obviously, it is the new 16-inch display. Now, I will say right off the bat, yes, I did notice that it is heavier. So the 16-inch is a little bit heavier. It's around 4.3 pounds, whereas the previous model, the 2018, was around 4 pounds. So it is a little bit heavier. It's also 0.7 millimeters thicker, which I feel like people aren't going to be that mad about because we've got a bigger battery. I've got 4 TB more of storage. So the fact that it is a tiny bit bigger and a little bit heavier, that's to be expected. One of the problems also with the old MacBooks is there were a lot of thermal issues. Now I know when I'm editing and I have my MacBook on my lap, it gets extremely hot. So hot to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to close my computer, let this cool down and do something else because it is so hot. So this also has new fans as well as a new internal layout, which will help airflow up to 28%. So I hope that it really does help with the overheating because it's very, very uncomfortable when your lap feels like it's on fire. Yeah, Bowie, what's up? Do you want to see the new MacBook? Oh, you have licked it. What we're gonna do right now, this is the 16-inch MacBook Pro, this is the 15-inch. I have opened up QuickTime on both of them and I'm going to record a video so that we can see and hear the difference between the speakers and the microphone and basically everything. So let's record a video. Okay, I don't know where to look. How's it going, you guys? What's going on? We still have the 720 camera, I see, where it kind of looks like I'm talking to you from a potato, but how do I sound? That's the real question. We will turn up the volume all the way and let's see how we sound.
But I feel like that's okay because I'm not going to be shooting a feature film on my MacBook Pro. But how do I sound? That's the real question.
Okay, right off the bat, I can definitely notice that this sounds louder. This sounds way better, so I'm not sure if it's because the speakers are better, but it's louder, it's more clear. This was still kind of like muffled and silent, and obviously I was at the same direction speaking to both of the computers, and the 16-inch MacBook Pro sounds way better. Now, I'm sure by now you guys have probably seen a million 16-inch MacBook Pro reviews, so I actually asked you what you wanted to see, and we're gonna go from there. Baby Bryn tries the new MacBook. Oh boy, okay. This is Bryn. Bryn is 2 months old, and she's very curious about the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. You wanna see the MacBook? I knew it, Bryn. Okay, so now we're gonna have a baby comparison size. She's upset. She said she misses the butterfly keyboard. No one misses the butterfly keyboard. Maybe she's a Surface user. Do you want a Surface? She's upset. Do you want the 13-inch? Is it because you're too tiny? I don't think this is gonna work out. Someone also wanted to see a bigger dent than Jonathan's MacBook Pro, which you guys will you will not be seeing that. Richard wants to see the speed it takes to edit and transfer against last year's MacBook Pro. All right. So I tested the same exact file transferring using a third-party dongle from the 2018 MacBook Pro versus the 2019, and it honestly was basically exactly the same time. I'm also recording this from the audio directly from my new MacBook, so I'm also very curious to see how it's gonna work for voiceover. Let's test out the new keyboard of the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And now the 15-inch. All right, so it's been 4 days since I've gotten my MacBook Pro, so I've just been using it as I normally would. I've actually been editing this whole video on my new computer, and I will say that it is definitely faster. Now, I had Catalina, but I was using it on my MacBook Air, and on my everyday computer, I was still using Mojave. Catalina kind of is a little bit buggy, but for the most part, I haven't had any problem. Now, a lot of you guys suggested that I show a comparison between editing and exporting. So the first test that we ran, we compressed a video out from the 15-inch MacBook Pro. That took 9 minutes, 24 seconds compared to the new MacBook, which actually took 8 minutes and 28 seconds. And then I decided to run another test of which the new MacBook Pro still beat the old MacBook. This test was a completely raw file. All of these things had the exact same settings. This ran at about 12 minutes, 21 seconds, and this compressed it at exactly 10 minutes. So this is definitely a couple minutes faster. I am curious to see when there's some more updates to Catalina to see if that actually improves it, because right now I feel like things aren't really optimized for it. In the first 6 months after a new operating system comes out, things are a little questionable. Overall, this was faster as expected. I've also had a lot of issues with my MacBook being very, very hot, so my dad let me borrow this infrared thermometer, which I've been having a lot of fun with, by the way. But when I was compressing out the videos, I decided to take the temperature. This is very official. So I took the temperature of my old MacBook versus my new MacBook, the one where this has been having some heating issues, and it was in fact hotter on the old MacBook. It fluctuated from like 111 to 114 degrees Fahrenheit for the old MacBook, whereas the new one was around 107, 108 degrees Fahrenheit. So a little bit warmer. Obviously this isn't the most scientific method, but it's fun. Let's see how hot my hand is. 89.5. Let's see what my computer is right now. 88. Cold. Also, from first impressions, I noticed that Lightroom was running a lot faster. I've had so many issues in the past where it would be laggy, especially if I was compressing a video at the same time. If I had Photoshop open, it would just kind of lag. Like I would up the clarity and it would take 5 seconds before actually showing it to me. Whereas this computer, I've noticed that things are definitely a lot more instant, and I will give you an example. So as you guys can see, like I'm adjusting the shadows and it's happening instantly. Whereas when I would use my other computer, there would be a delay and I would make a change and it wouldn't show up, so it would make a greater change and then it would just drastically ruin everything. So the fact that it's able to process and handle that a lot better, that's worth it to me, because there's so many times I would just sit frustrated trying to edit photos and it would take forever. All right, a lot of you guys want to see the editing comparison as well. So Final Cut's been actually very nice. Having that extra space on the screen has been really great. So just being able to have like a bigger timeline, a bigger screen, being able to see some more things, it's been a good experience for the 4 days that I've been using it. Here I am editing this video, which has been shot over 4 days in various locations, and I've actually had to reshoot this 3 times. People say I shouldn't do tech videos. With all the problems I've had, I think they're right. Also the keyboard. I know the keyboard is a huge selling point for the new MacBook Pro. Obviously people were not thrilled with the butterfly keyboard, and after using this and then going back to use this, I have to say that I actually didn't like that either, but I didn't realize that I didn't like it because I was used to it. And the trackpad, I don't know if it's a personal problem, but this trackpad is very hard to push. It could be because it's, you know, survived a year and a half with me. It could just have some dirt under there, but this trackpad is so much nicer and newer and cleaner, and when I click a button, it actually works. And I really am enjoying the old, new scissor mechanism for this keyboard, and I'm loving having the physical escape key. I didn't realize how many times I actually used the escape key, and now that it's not in the touch bar, it's so much easier to actually use. I'm not searching for it. One of you guys also wanted to see a cat video being played from my new MacBook Pro. So, all right. 10 hours, most adorable cats. This is also a good way to test the speakers. Oh, there's no sound. So yes, the 16-inch MacBook Pro can in fact play cat videos. This actually reminds me of my old cat Jane. She was all gray and she looked like that. She didn't have any kittens though. Can we play something with sound to kind of test these speakers out? This is a 2019 video, so it's high resolution, 3 hours long. It sounds great. This isn't even 4K. I'm also in Safari, so it's the best we're gonna get is 1080p. Okay, so we did that. So all in all, I have to say that the new 16-inch MacBook Pro is pretty great. I mean, we have the new, better thermal design. We've got the new Magic Keyboard, the 6-speaker sound system, the 100-watt-hour battery, and up to 8 terabytes of storage. I'm on board. Do you need this laptop? We don't really need anything. We need like oxygen and water. So no, you obviously don't need this MacBook. I need it though, so that's why I have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. It took me a very long time to do under all of the circumstances that I've had to fight, but we did it, you guys, and I will see you again soon for a new video. I love my new MacBook. Thick boy, heavy boy. I just need to get stronger.